Today we are in the middle of wrapping up Chris Forsberg's engine. This is for his demo car. It's a 370Z. It's got the essentially VQ35HR in it. It's running the stock ECU. It's a car that we've tuned, goodness, I want to say close to 10 years ago. It's been super reliable for him. When it had the stock VQ35HR in it, we had tuned on race gas. We were running Q16. It hasn't skipped a beat in all those years. So Chris approached us about building the motor to get a little bit more power out of it. So Chris pulled out the VQ35. That thing was in really, really good condition. So we've used that engine to build. Here we are. We've got just about a complete long block here. We're just going to be putting on the rest of our accessories, the rear timing cover, the front timing cover, setting all that stuff up. Nothing too crazy on the engine. It is a closed deck block now. Want to make sure that we give it a little bit more strength, rigidity. We're doing the ARP 625 plus 11 mil studs. Head gasket, of course, has been upgraded. We've gone with the JWT C1 HR cam. So shout out to Clark Stepler over at Jim Wolf. Thank you for getting us set up with those cams. Also with the stuff we're going to need to delete our exhaust retarder. We're not going to be doing that. We're doing a fixed cam gear, kind of simplify that. As far as the bottom end, we've got CP pistons, 9-to-1 compression. We've brought the compression down a little bit. We've done Carrillo rods. So this thing is going to be doing pretty darn good. It's been powered the last 10 years with a Fast Intentions twin turbo kit. So it's going to retain that for its power adder. And the other thing that we've done with the heads is we've gone with a +1 mil oversized valves on both of the intake exhaust. That way this thing can breathe a bit easier, bring that volumetric efficiency up. So not having to cram a ton more boost pressure to make the power. So didn't go crazy with the cams, just kind of wanted this thing to have a good idle quality, be a good demo car for Chris. So we're wrapping up. I'm gonna get the rear timing cover on this bad boy, get all the chain stuff on, so you guys can watch me as I do some of that. All right guys, we're putting on our rear timing cover. You can see we had this carefully powder coated just in areas where you're gonna be seeing it. It's not gonna affect the sealing. We've got our O-rings installed, super critical. You get these O-rings installed on this bad boy. We're gonna go ahead, this is my favorite part, is aligning all this up. Put this one in. We've got those alignment dowels. All right, so I'm gonna just take my weighted rubber mallet. And we'll be installing our 6 mil hardware. There's 20 mil length bolts. Those all go in a specific area. No, I don't know them by memory. I've done quite a few of these, but still, I like to double check. I use the FSM to make sure I get the proper bolts in the proper location. So I'm gonna do that now. We'll reference our printout. We'll just get them started. All right, so that's our 20 mil length bolts. Now we're gonna do our 16 mil, which there's quite a few more of those. Our cover is on. Now it's just time to go through all the bolts by hand. And then we're gonna get our rear timing cover gaskets replaced. You can see they're already off. I've got everything already cleaned, prepped, ready to go. We'll install those, and then we'll continue. We'll put our gears on, move on to putting our front cover back on. This out of the way. All right, guys, so we've got the Concept Z kit for the rear timing cover gaskets. So we also got the hardware. Regardless of whether you use the factory hardware or the replacement hardware, you want to make sure that you put some Loctite, Red Loctite, on the threads of these bolts to prevent these things from backing out. I think a lot of that is the cause of those gaskets blowing out. It's like an exhaust leak. You got a tremendous amount of pressure that's up against the plate, the hardware, the gasket. As these things back themselves out, it wants to rush past through it, like breaking a dam. It blows that gasket out. So this is going to help prevent these bolts from backing out. So I've gotten quite liberal with it. You know, I don't want these backing out, especially, you know, on Chris's setup, regardless of anybody's setup. You know, even when we're doing just a basic timing chain job with the cover gaskets, we do all this the same. So we'll actually tighten them up. We'll tighten them up a few times to make sure that when those gaskets compress, you know, they're gonna get even a little thinner. So we'll go back, recheck the bolts, check the torque on them, make sure that we fully have bottomed out, got those bolts tight. So we'll go ahead and we'll get that started. Guys, we've got our timing chain on, we've got our JWT adjustable exhaust cam gears. When you're dealing with a VHR, a non-rev up DE, you can set these up like factory, meaning you can actually line up our marks on the actual dots. On this bad boy, you can see it would be here, right? To give you an idea. And on the other side, on bank 2, it'd be those, you know, oval, and these are the circles, right? So you line it up like that. But because this is a VQ35HR, we have the exhaust phasers, the adjustable exhaust cam gears, and we're getting rid of them. You can't just set these up like stock. So what happens is, because on the exhaust side of the VQ35HR, the phaser and retarder is actually just doing just that. This, if you were to set it up like stock or normal, like you would in the FSM, you would end up with the exhaust cams being way too far advanced. It's not going to run well. It's not going to make the power. So because of that, you got to get your timing, and this is all the information I got from Clark guys over at JWT, you know, based on the amount of cam timing to our crank degrees that we've got. And so we ended up, I think it was 7.5 degrees that we have to retard each side. So that way it's close to being static. We don't have too much on our exhaust cams. So what we've done, and then you can kind of see, let me get the little paperwork. So for those of you that are doing this is going to give you the idea, right? So these are adjustable exhaust cam sprockets. This works on all the VQs. But like I said, on the VQ35HR and the rev ups, you've got that exhaust phaser that you don't have on the other VQs. So what we've done is on the number 4 mark on the outside, you can see that, we're gonna line that up to the bottom painted mark of our chain, okay? These are our secondary chains. Our dowel, it's tough to see it, but our dowel is on position 4. So 4 here, right at the top of our dowel on the exhaust cam, 4 here on the bottom painted mark. So when we move over to bank number 2, you got to keep in mind the position. You might make the mistake of putting 4 at the bottom. You don't want to do that because then you're going to be too far out. So 4 goes on the very top painted mark of the secondary chain, okay? 4, again, is going to be where it goes onto your dowel. That is getting it as static as it would be, and that's what we're going for on this thing. So keep that in mind when you're doing a VQ, specifically the 35HR, that you're not setting these up as you would like a factory exhaust cam gear that's non-adjustable. On these, because the way Nissan did it, it's forcing it at idle to be static by retarding that exhaust cam gear. You would have way too much advanced when it was static on a normal cam gear setup. So that's why we have to do this. And that's why we're doing the JWT adjustable exhaust cam gears. So there you have it. These are set up. Water pump is in, our guides are in, our tensioners all in. We've got our gaskets all in. We've got these bad boys in. Everything on your primary chain is gonna line up just like factory. So we've got all our marks lined up here. here. We're ready to get siliconing on the primary cover. We're ready to bolt that all down. We're just almost getting there. So this thing will be ready to go. And I am looking forward to it. So we'll talk about it a little bit more once we get our secondaries on. We'll give Chris a call to come get this bad boy shortly. All right, so we're getting our valve covers back on Chris's VR38. This one is courtesy of Lynch Mob Racing. So we're just getting everything prepped. We'll get our valve covers done. We got them cleaned up just to make it look a bit nicer, but you can see we got the nice Titan Motorsports ATI damper. We're also gonna be putting in, you can see the box over there, guys, the AMS Racing oil filter adapter. So that allows us to run a bigger filter, a filter that won't bypass. So really critical, especially on a high output engine like this, just to make sure that everything gets filtered, has good flow at the same time. So let's get our valve cover on. We're gonna silicone the corners here. So all 4 corners, get a little bit of silicone. We're using the Nissan 3 Bond here. You can totally use the Permatex Gray to factory spec. I'll clean this up, get them bolted down, and hopefully we won't get any other interruptions. All right, guys, on this VR38, we're gonna be installing the AMS Race oil filter adapter. Super easy install. This is going to allow you to run a much bigger filter, AMS, and we like to run Wix. The racing line of the Wix filters will not bypass. So meaning that this is going to run filtered oil all the time. So you're gonna ask, well, why would my filter the oil all the time? The reason being is if there's a restriction, if there's too much oil pressure, you don't want the oil filter to be impeding on any oil back into the engine. So the factory's figured out that, hey, it's probably best, especially for people that don't maintain their vehicles, the oil filter gets clogged, the oil will still make its way into the engine itself. So not really a thing with a meticulously taken care of vehicle, but for those that are street driven, it's not a bad idea. You can still run the larger Wix filter. That's a street version that does have a bypass. This is the racing one, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and move the factory oil filter stud, and this can be installed with the engine in the car. The only thing we're not gonna be showing today, since we don't have the alternator mounted, is the bracket for the alternator just needs to be trimmed to make room for the larger setup going in. So this is the guy, we're not gonna reuse him anymore. We have a new one from AMS. We're gonna go ahead and clean off. This is actually carbon, builds up, clean off the threads in there. I'm gonna use a little bit of parts wash brake cleaner. We'll clean the threads up. The camera. This stuff gets on the lens, it can cloudy it up. All right, got that cleaned up. We're gonna be applying some Loctite to the new adapter. Okay guys, so really simple. It uses an O-ring that's gonna seal against the factory housing. We're gonna use a little bit of Max Film, clean that off. Then we're gonna use a little bit of our high temp Red Loctite. Don't need to get too crazy with it. And ensuring that we keep our O-ring in its groove. We're gonna start to thread this bad boy in. It does have a tight fit with the way that these threads are machined. Super easy to get it in by hand. Just watching to make sure our O-ring stays in place. Really, there's not a whole lot to it. The spec torque is 65 foot-pounds. I'm gonna use the Seb torque meter. Boom. That's it, guys. That's really all it takes, and your filter is gonna go here. So besides the modification to the alternator bracket, you've got yourself a higher flowing, more volume filter. So definitely recommended, street or race engines. That's the way to go. Really nice, simple product from AMS. So you can see we've got quite a few things, accessories bolted onto this thing. We got new idler bearings, new tensioner. We got our front diff installed. It's coming together. So we'll do our injectors next. We'll be putting our turbo kit on. So we'll get that on, and then we'll get this bad boy onto its original cross member, get it back into the car. So Getting excited. We're getting closer day by day.